Are we good to
Check it out.
get going? Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna speak for a few minutes and just kind of give a quick, like intro and summation about what it is that we're doing. So we've had like some of the in-person family meetings, down in Collier and then in Sarasota and stuff. Last week we had our first, Zoom meeting of this. And we're going to continue, for those of you that are still coming on, we're going to meet every Friday. We're going to alternate the times. But the two people that I really want to introduce are going to kind of talk after me have spoken before, but this is really supposed to be kind of an interactive Zoom for all of us to kind of have input into this. But Stephanie Norden, who is up there in the top corner, she's kind of put the graphics together and stuff for some of the stuff that's been going out to everybody. And she is located down in Collier County. She is a mom of, 4 boys, but 2 who are now on the waiver, well, actually the CDC program, but she hasn't been on it that long, not even 2 years. And they had a major crisis situation, and it took 385 days to get onto the waiver. And then the other gentleman who had spoken last week, Tom Nurse, he's on the road right now, and he's listening, but he'll be in front of his camera in just a little bit. But he is a daughter, I'm sorry, he's a father to a daughter who's on the waiver. And he has, his daughter Shelby's been on the waiver for almost the entire time of the waiver, almost 30 years. And both Stephanie and Tom have experience speaking to legislators and stuff and being vocal. So our main goal is to educate our legislators right now through the families. And my name is Melissa Mazeda, and I am a support coordinator. I have been a coordinator since the waiver started. And I own it's called a QO, a qualified organization. And I and my business partner, Colleen, employ, almost 40 coordinators at this point, 44 coordinators. And we serve in over 20 counties, and we have over 1,400 folks that we do serve on the waiver and CDC currently. And us together, what we're really fighting for, and what I think everybody that is on here is fighting for, is a better, stronger state program that actually works for the constituents, the citizens of this state and their families who have developmental disabilities. That's the bottom line. And even though if you have a child with a developmental disability, most of you who do have relatives, and I shouldn't say just children, it could be a brother, it could be a sister that you're helping to raise, a grandchild. I've seen a lot of family situations over the years, but if you are a family member with a relative with a developmental disability, you know that life can be really difficult. And this program, the waiver program, the CDC program, are supposed to be that safety net and that help for people that are with developmental disabilities and their families. And for each one of you guys who is a family member, there's a number of people out there, folks served by this program, people with developmental disabilities that have absolutely no family whatsoever. I see it often. And just think about like your relative that you love and care about, and you want to make sure that they're taken care of. There's people out there that have nobody like that, no family at all to help look out for them. And that's where a strong, solid provider network comes into place and when we have that under the waiver and we have that under CDC, we really do see some great successful situations. And that is something that the legislators need to hear. But there's also people that I know that are on here that are not even on the waiver, or people that are on the waiver and they're struggling for one reason or another. Maybe you don't have a a reliable provider network right now. I know that we deal with that as support coordinators. We're trying to find companions and personal supports, and it's a struggle. The agencies aren't able to do it. And so that's something that that is our goal. We want this program to be as strong as it possibly can be, to serve as best as it possibly can, which means we need solid people in place. But this program is very dependent upon the legislature and the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. So that's where right now the families come in. And I know that we've spoken some time about managed care and stuff. That is, if you're interested in me giving you a quick synopsis on that, I will do it at the way end of this, if you're even, if you're still here. But that's not what our focus is right now. What the focus has to be right now is to create kind of basically an army of families to educate our legislators, your legislators. They need to know their constituents. And that's what we're going to try to figure out the best way to go about that tonight. We spoke a little bit about it before. We've asked some people to make appointments for, just time's sake. It's actually probably going to be beneficial to have some people going together in small groups, which also I think probably is more comfortable for some people to be able to do that. But if we really want to see some solid change for the better for this program, we need to have the families basically lobbying for it. There's when our legislators pass legislation, when they make decisions about budgets and stuff like that go to particular causes, it's because usually there are people that are lobbying for those causes. And that's where you guys kind of come in. That's where we really need the families to come in. So let's see. Lobbyists, yep. And right now, we really need to educate our elected officials on their constituents with developmental disabilities. And the solutions that we have, actually, let me just skip that for a second. The whole thing was speaking to legislators. That's something where a lot of people, I've had some feedback where you're maybe not comfortable with talking to them. I don't know what to say to them. I don't know what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to convey to them? What am I supposed to bring up? Managed care? I don't know what managed care means. No. What the legislators need right now is to understand the people of this program. So what they need to know is, and what I would like for them to see is what I kind of see in a way. I've been going in and out of a lot of homes for many, many years, and I see that it can be very difficult. I also see that it can be really wonderful too, as long as you have good, solid people in place, whether it's family, paid providers, community supports. I've seen it across the board. But the families are the ones that really have to be able to educate the legislators on their situations and really kind of, in a way, like pull on their heartstrings a little bit, get them to realize that, this is a real situation. And even though that they might not have somebody at their house that they're taking care of that has a developmental disability that is lifelong, it is never going to go away. It's never going to get better. It happened before the age of 18. It's just what it is. But it's our duty as people who serve and the legislators serve to make their communities better. They have to know what developmental disabilities are. You have to humanize it for them. So they need to see you guys in front of them. And if you're able to bring your loved one with you, then please, by all means, do that. But if you can't, Stephanie has come up with a great, one-page form, but you can actually plug a picture into it, plug some facts into it and stuff. She's made it really user friendly. It is something to be done on the computer, but leave them with not just your story, but also a picture of your loved one, so that they see that this is a person. This is not just a PIN number. It's not an iConnect number. It's not just Social Security number. It's an actual human being that lives in their community, that is really, like happy with the services that they're receiving from the waiver from the CDC, or they're maybe not receiving services right now and they need it, or they're on the waiver and they've had ups and downs and stuff, but overall, we need a strong program to help support the citizens of this state that have developmental disabilities. So those are the things that we really want to be able to get across to them. The one thing that I can tell you is, and I know that there are some folks that are really angry with the system too. I've heard that as well, and I know that the state of Florida can do better, and they should do better. But we're going to have to help them to do better. To just go into somebody's office and say, we need more money. What's wrong with you? Why don't you understand? It's going to fall on deaf ears. They need to hear your stories, but it needs to, you need to kind of help them recognize and tap into that empathy that they have to have for the constituents that they are supposed to be serving, and make no mistake,
Melissa, maybe that's a good place to
that
shift.
reason.
Maybe that's a good place to start on family stories part again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom, if you're on now and you're able to head into it, you and Stephanie have had the experience as family members going and speaking to legislators, and that's where we need other family members to be able to hear your experience. And I think Allison Holmes is also on. We want to have you guys like interacting and making suggestions and stuff. But the other thing that we do need to keep in mind is, if you do visit somebody, I would like to know who you visited and when you visited them. I really would like to try to be able to keep track of that. I'll send my email out. I mean, I think most of you guys probably have my email, but that's something that I really would like to be able to keep track of. But if Tom and Stephanie want to, take it away, that'll be great.
All righty. How you all doing today? I am kind of in a marginally internet place. So what I wanted to do is just reemphasize some of what we talked about last week, and to understand that in these systems, the families have the loudest voice and the most at stake. And so the reason that we're trying to do this is to really become an advocate, a partner for the process. What we mean by that is there's a mechanism for these meet your legislators and to go in there, but what are we going to do when we're there? So what Melissa was talking about, a lot of it was policy and process and those types of things. But the thing that is most important to understand and remember first and foremost is that we are families and we have the greatest freedom to speak of anybody. And we can tell the truth. And so what we really need to be able to do is three things. First, I think it's incredibly important that we introduce ourselves, those with developmental disabilities, as constituents, as that legislator, as that senator's family. We are in their family of their district, and this is part of their family. And we want them, so first they need to know that you're there, who you are, and that you're part of the family. Second, we want to offer to help them. And you're saying, why would we offer to help them? Well, look at it this way. I know many of us have experienced family or friends that really don't grasp how hard it can be to be a caregiver, how complicated it is sometimes with behaviors and with emergency stuff and just the complexities and the paperwork and the fight and the battle and all that stuff. And they don't have a clue. But imagine that family member also is in charge of preparing the budget, the funding for the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. So if that legislator is in your family now, why don't we act as that family member that can educate them, teach them about the disabilities, teach them about the services needed. We are also, it's very important to understand that if everybody's going in there to complain, then why wouldn't they just get rid of it? So it's equally important that we talk about not only what didn't work, but that we make sure and we recruit and we engage families that have been and are being served, and it has had an impact. It has done as intended. It has provided a safety net. It has provided care. It has provided supports. It has provided options, because part of what we really are trying to do is not throw the baby out with the bathwater. What we're asking to do is to educate them about what it really is, what the program can do, either if you're served or what it needs to be, what you're waiting for, so that you become a resource. We want you to develop a relationship as someone that not only came to their office to complain or to ask for their help, but you actually came there to offer the help of helping them understand what a developmental disability is to your family, to his family, because you're in his family or her family. And it's a very family approach. And so Stephanie, and thank God for Stephanie and graphics and all those types of things, has been working on different on some tools. We introduced it last week. Some people have responded. Some people still have questions, and Stephanie's done some upgrades and updates. And Stephanie, are you ready for me to hand you this piece so you can start to go over
Pass it
the
over,
magic?
Tom.
I'm handing over.
Hello, families. Oh my goodness. It's like the most amazing, incredible thing to see a bunch of others out there wanting to do the same thing. And I don't know that my two friends over here hit the point home enough. This is about families. What we're doing here is showing our legislators that we're human. This is a human issue. And the only conclusion that I've come to why Florida is where it's at is there isn't that connection piece. So what I came up with, I'm going to share my screen so I can show you guys what I came up with, because there has been some feedback. It's not a perfect system. I am not a tech expert by any means. But I created this Adobe fillable form, and I'll throw the link in the comment area chat box. We've also emailed it, and if you want it, throw something in the chat box, and I'll make Melissa do a recon on that. So when you go to the website, it pulls up like this, and there's dear. This is where you put your legislator. So dear Senator, oh look, mine's already filled out. So dear Senator Pasadomo, then it's already filled in there. I'm a resident of, oh look, I'm Collier County, but you would put your county there. And I am your constituent. I believe it's important for you to get to know me a little, get to know a little about me and what my life looks like. And this is just a way to personalize that connection. So you click, okay, wait, hold on, I went too fast. So we want them to see our faces, our loved ones' faces. So click here, all you have to do is click, and then you can find, a picture that you like. This is my Gavin, and it'll load. It's not like, proportioned perfectly, but that's okay. Look at that cheesy, cute kid. And then fill in just a few things about your loved one. Gavin's 13. And he really, I love Veggie Tales. Man, does he love Veggie Tales. And you go to your next point. Let's see, I did this for a couple people. I love adaptive sports. Let's see, Gavin is a tickle man. I love tickles. So the other drop down box here I created to make it real simple is I live. Does Gavin live with his family, with a caretaker in a group home, a supported living community? Does he live independent with support professionals coming into the home, or without any supports? Gavin lives with me. He's mine. So then it says, I have a developmental disability that meets the crisis criteria to receive waiver services, and I need additional supports to stay healthy and safe. This says, you know, I need help through this waiver. Is he on the waiver? Gavin is on the waiver, but if he wasn't, he could click, I'm on the wait list. And then we want them to know, like, how long, 20 years, you know, like give them an idea of who he is. Throw his name up here. I'm Gavin. And then here's your spot to talk to your legislator about how they can help. I have a few examples of already filled out ones. This is Nikki. I don't know if she's on this call right now, but Nikki and I filled this out this weekend. She also lives in Collier. She wrote to Senator Pasadomo, said some fun facts about herself. She is on the wait list, and she used this opportunity to say, you know what, Senator Pasadomo, I really want to meet you in person. It would make my day. And then Nikki and I we emailed this to Senator Pasadomo's office, and she is meeting with the senator this week. So that's the form. It's really, really simple to click through. However, if that is not your forte, I have an alternative. So if I can figure out how to see it over here, this one, connect with my story. So it's the same sort of principle, but if you don't want to just fill out the form, you can just put the information in and I will fill it out. I will fill it out for you and send it to you so you can meet with people are coming in, meet with the legislators. Thank you, fact check it. So it's the same sort of thing. What county do you live in? How old are you? What are some things you want your it doesn't have to be 3 fun facts, things you want them to know about you. And then a place to put your pictures. What's your waiver status? It's the same thing, and drop down. And then if you have some things you would like to say. And so that is the 2 ways to kind of engage the legislators right off the bat in a positive way. Get them to see your kids, man. We've got some really beautiful people. And I want our legislators to kind of have that heart connection even before we make the appointment. And just to get ahead of myself a little, because that's what I do. I did this sample for you to show you what we can then do after we've met with our legislators, and we want to create like the faces of your constituents with developmental disabilities. Let's create a story for them so that we can continue the conversation. And all the information that was in Logan's form has now been put in this pretty little design. And so as many of those come in, that is my forte. I'm creative. I like to do that kind of stuff. And I think that by making, I don't know how to get back to you people. Okay.
Tiff, can I add a couple of things?
You may. Yeah, sure.
So, you know, I think that's what's important. We've also tried to be sure to not put personally identifiable information out there. But what we would like to be able to do is start to put these on our on our Facebook page, have them available for you, have them available as a tool, because again, we don't want to just go there to complain. We want to go there to educate, because if we go back to the beginning of this thing, as I mentioned the last time, Bertha Aponte educated Governor Bush about their daughter Lucy, along with her husband Milton, and that changed everything from it being about a lawsuit, settlement, and very contentious and a lot of anger, and it was just a hassle, to let's do something. And so to find a way to try to stir that compassionate conservatism, to find a way to connect, that maybe they begin to see, this could be my family. This could be my grandchild. This could be my cousin. This could be my family friend. This could be my neighbor, and make it real, real human, but also not as a one-stop, we're just going to come by, inundate you. We want to be able to build a relationship so they can look at you as an expert on this program on developmental disabilities that they can turn to. And now that's where Melissa and all the professional advocates and organizations that are working on some of the bill language and the real specific stuff, we are the gateway in to be able to bring information that's very important, but by doing it, because we're families and they could relate, they can hear us, it's a different story than when a support coordinator organization shows up or a professional lobbyist is there. It's not the same. And the truth is, while they're home, while they're your family and you go to the family home, their office, and I think the more you talk about them, that you're part of their family and they're part of your family because you live in their district and you're my representative. So we're really family. And I want to be that family person to tell you about to help you do it, because when you build those kinds of relationships, you have an opportunity to then really connect with their legislative aides. And that's where the rubber meets the road, because that's the folks that mostly write the language, do all the behind the scenes work. And we are a conduit to be able to bring updated quality information. What I've asked Melissa to look at is 3 or 4 bullet points with a link to a detailed understanding. So instead of us sitting down and try to explain really complex things and getting over our head or getting confused or making mistakes or quoting wrong facts and doing those kinds of things, what we are bringing is the human face of the family, their family. And I know I've emphasized that a lot today, but I can tell you, and I will say it again, the best things that have happened is because of families, because of the fight, because of the passion, because of the commitment. And as we begin to get some momentum on this things, and I just want to tell you, I love the visual samples. I think it really can hit home. I could see the rotunda in the Capitol fully circled with pictures of people. I could see offices, and we could really impact the Capitol because we need to create some good. And that's why this non-organization, non-partisan, just the family-driven process here is so important. And again, Stephanie, thank you for your work. Melissa, thanks for not only what you're doing on this particular issue and trying to get folks involved, which you've lit some fires here, obviously, but to the day-to-day work you do in the mechanics of this program and the support coordination and helping folks manage CDC and working through those things. We have to help folks understand how the program was intended to work, and for those that have seen it work. I see Ann Grable there. And your life was changed by it. Your family's life was changed by it. They need to know that. There needs to be an understanding of the return on investment that you can tell them with the passion and honesty. I can sleep. I am not as afraid as I was. And I'm not trying to call you out, Ann. I've just known you a long time, and I know that this has been a good thing for you and for other families. We need to say it with that truth so that, again, I want them to think about, wow, I got a brother, I got a nephew, I got a friend, and begin to think about maybe they could do something really good. Maybe with working together instead of fighting us, maybe we can help them understand why it was intended to help and help them understand some of the ways that they can help it be less about saying no. And
For us
that's the main points that I
to
wanted
do
to wrap
all
up.
of
Thanks.
those, wonderful. You're absolutely right. We one of the things, well, no, I'll go forward, then I'll go back. In order to do all of those things, we got to know who we're talking to, right? There's like 1 million government officials, and we've got commissioners and city officials and representatives and senators and presidents and governors. But Melissa here has crafted this really easy sheet that I'm going to figure out how to share. It is been mailed out through Melissa's contact list. It's also on our Facebook page under files. Can you see this? Yes? Okay. This is a
Yeah.
list of who your decision makers are by your county. So let's just say, I'll pick one. Let's say you're in Flagler. So if you're in Flagler, your guy to talk to is Paul Renner. And this is your list. Black is House and red is senators. It depends on, I talk to all of mine, but, pick one. And then to find their information, besides that, you can go down this beautiful list. So he was in the black, right? He's House. This is all the information to the Senate side. And then Melissa's so awesome. Now here's our House of Representatives side. Who did I choose? Renner. Okay. You go down, it's in alphabetical order. L, where are we? P, Q, P, Renner. Okay, so you want to speak with Paul Renner. All you need to do is take that email address, click it, and then send your form, send your appointment request letter, and here's his phone number. This is his number up in Tallahassee. We want to call him at their district office. And then when you make your appointment and you know where to go, here is their addresses. So it's a really simple guide to, even if you don't know who it is you're supposed to speak, that list will tell you. And when I've approached the legislators with my own concerns, we're gonna go with, how it went was like this. Hey, legislators, this is what's going on in my world. These are the things that I've done. These are the things that aren't working. Here's some ideas that I have. Can we talk about it? Very simple, like nothing too complex. I don't talk outside of my own hood. I don't know enough about managed care and funding to speak to it, but I sure know a whole lot about Logan and Gavin and our needs, where we're met and where we're not met.
But Stephanie, you also know people that do know. And so
Yes,
the
yes.
thing that you can be is a connector. And that's part of what these weekly Fridays will serve as, is to help you not necessarily become the expert, but know who to connect to. And so when you're going back, again, you're also saying, and I can be a resource to you. If you got a question, I'll find out for you. I'll search it down. And the more you do that and they begin to trust you, changes are coming, baby. Changes are coming.
Changes are coming. So I think we got the message of, this is about the families. We want our legislators to connect with us and just keep it there. Keep it there, keep it there, keep it there. And then here's the other thing. So I made my appointments with my legislators before we started this group in July. And my appointment, I had an appointment last week with Mello's office. Next week, we have an appointment with Senator Pasadomo. It took about a month for us. So the reason why we keep beating home, make the appointment is because very soon here, they are going to be going to committee meetings and they won't be back at 10 miles from your house or whatever. So we want to be able to connect with them eye to eye in their office, so that making that appointment is really simple. I have a template that I'll send you of just like a, dear legislator, I'm your constituent and I want to make an appointment. And that way.
And that's your first appointment. Because again, once you get in, you want to be able to come back. You want to be able to make a phone call. You want to be able to send them an email. You want to be able to connect up with their aides. When you get handed off to the aide, don't feel like you've been slighted. You've been given access to be able to have a main line to provide the information that's going to come back in a more um, processed through their office way. So the more you can provide good quality information and build that relationship. So don't look at it as this is my only shot and I'm going to blow it and I got to give them everything. No, I'm going to be here for you for the session. You call me anytime. I'm going to check back up with you. I'll be glad to keep you updated on things as I know it. I want to be a resource to you. And because remember that bozo the clown didn't get you knocked down, you come right back up. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to keep coming back, keep coming back. You don't have to always go see him. You can just email him. You can make a phone call. You can do a Zoom. You can just do that. And again, get to the aids. That's the money shot.
Miss Margaret Hooper, welcome to the club. Come speak up.
Hi. Well, Tom, you stole half of my thunder there. I was going to say it's very important to have a relationship with the aides. I mean, I've been doing this for years, and sometimes the aide's a better appointment than the actual official. And the second thing I was going to say about aides is what I try to do is find out the aide that works on human service issues and use their email, copy them, because a lot of times that same person is also going through all the emails for the representative. But if you copy them and they see their boss has been copied, a lot of times they will react more quickly to that kind of email. So I'm just, it'd be good if you can fit 2 emails in that slot, Stephanie. That would be great, or maybe another box for that. You seem to have luck not needing that, but sometimes it's helpful.
Okay, sure. Melissa, that's on you because this is your list. You have all that info. I have a few of the aides information, and I'll tell you that the majority of my conversations I've had are with the aides, and they have I wouldn't say a lot more time, but definitely more time than the reps and the senators. So they can give you a little bit more leeway when you want to talk a little bit more, and you want that aide to be that is your new best friend. These people work really, really hard, and they are the filter for the representative. So if you don't get an appointment in front of, don't say no, just say yes. I talked to one of our reps even on the phone, and I wanted to be in person or on Zoom or whatever, but he took my phone call and he was willing to give me 5 minutes of his time.
Right.
And that was the that's it. That's the connection.
And now you can follow up on that connection later. If you've got some new really important information or anything, boom, pop it over to them. And again, they'll build a trust, they'll build a relationship with you. My hopes is organizations like Family Cafe and DD Council and ARC and other organizations like that can embrace this and spread this out and just keep building it, because if there's 35,000 people served and 25,000 waiting, that's 60,000 people. That's a lot of faces. That's a lot more faces than there's room in the rotunda to hang them all. And so we want to be able to just build the trust within the disability community that our intent is pure, just to bring the family voices to the front and encourage. So I ask everybody on this call, if you think this is a good idea and you know somebody else, send it to them, call them in, invite them, teach them about it, get them excited about it. We'd like to start to see this thing start to come in. I think it was really helpful today to kind of go back over it again, have another week to do it. I'll also have to say, honestly, a little hurricane came through this week in Florida, and we understand that many people experience some pretty action-packed experiences because of that, some more than ever. I hope everybody's safe and that you still have a roof over your head and everything. So for me, that's really what I wanted to convey. We're going to do updating topics every week. We'll keep giving updates about what's going on here, and um, keep cultivating being able to have it be family friendly messaging with the real meats and potato behind it available, so we can not feel like we're going in there having to be a total content expert about a legislative bill. No, we know who is, and we'd be glad to connect you. Here's the information. But I want you to know about Logan. I want you to know about Gavin. I want you to know about Shelby. I want you to know about these people. They're your family. And I think if we can kind of adopt that idea about educating your family so they can make good decisions and that you can help them instead of kicking them, we might get more progress that way. For me, that's what I have. And I know we wanted to do some questions and answers. Stephanie, do you have any more that you needed on this section, or are we pretty good?
It's real short. If you're on the call and you are in Collier County, our efforts have worked, and there's been several families that have contacted Senator Pasadomo. So next Thursday, she's going to allow us Collier County families to have 30 minutes of her time. And if you're interested in hopping aboard that, I would love her to meet all of our families here and connect with us. You will need to reach out to Pasadomo's office, but you can stop through me first, and I'll help you get to do that. She's a really incredible lady, and I want her to see us. So if you can get there, it's next Thursday, September 7th, 1 p.m. If you can't get there, if you're not in Collier County, please send us those forms. At the very least, I want to throw her a stack of all the faces and say, these people weren't able to be here for XYZ reason. But they want you to know who they are, Senator.
Because she's
Patel.
representing way more than Collier County.
She is our Senate president for this last year. This year is her last year as president, and then she's out. So we have her attention. My family has her hearts, and I want her to get to know yours and build on
We
that.
want her name to be known as a legacy name of a person that rallied the waiver, that, and one of the things that you need to learn is you don't need to worry about taking the credit as long as you get the results. And if we can help her see this as something that can be something that's a legacy issue that she gets behind, that she can feel good, that people can talk about her and say, yeah, she did that and it was a great thing, be a heck of a accomplishment.
Yeah, so that's next Thursday, 1 p.m. And what I want to hear, I know Mary's got her hand raised, so Mary will be next, but did anybody make appointments? Does anybody have questions about that process? Does anybody have questions about getting your information in? Let's talk about that so we can really groove. Okay, can you all unmute yourself? I don't know how to.
And there are people, just if you guys can check the chat box, there's a couple of people asking questions in there. Like if somebody's from Orange County, Amanda Hayes is asking if anybody's from Putnam. So if you guys can look at that too.
Okay, good. I think you all can unmute now. So if you have a question, let's talk over each other. Let's go.
You want to talk over each other, Stephanie?
No, ma'am. Hi, Liz.
Hi,
and
honey.
Friends, do you have a question?
No, I'm just saying hello to you.
Hey, that's Liz. She's in Collier. You want to introduce yourself? You haven't been.
You need me to set an appointment with my legislature, so I'm happy to see that you have constructed a form so well.
Yes, you're welcome. Anybody have questions?
Yeah, we did freeze up on reaching out to our local person. We found out it's not supposed to be that Tyler Syros. They said go ahead and contact the other Debbie Mayfield and the other fellow. His name behooves me right at this moment, but I know I got his name. But in a way it flows up because it's just us sitting here in isolation, and I really don't want him to see our face. I really want to see legislative change, and that's my first question. What am I supposed to do? Just it's not, I'm not worried about, it seems like I understand the personalization, but I'm so frustrated because I feel it's just utter human rights and civil rights violations on so many levels. And I'm wondering, as a group, are we going to come to a consensus? Are we going to come at this with a legislative suggestion for real, like, foundational changes to the system so we can get more action? I mean,
Our mission here is for them to recognize that these are human beings tied behind these numbers and this wait list and the services and supports. So
And we're
we,
also going to rely on organizations like the DD Council, ARC, other organizations that'll be legislatively in leadership. Certainly, we would love to see absolute full funding, the elimination of any wait list, the eliminations of the barriers to proper identification and full access to services. But first and foremost, we've already seen the impacts of the supermajority on some populations, and we have to really see if we can find a way to get in. And Alan, I'm kind of curious from the ARC perspective, what do you think of what we're trying to accomplish?
I specifically came here to show my support. I think you've nailed it. It's the families that matter and they care about and they listen. I met with Pasadomo and we spent all the time talking about families she met with, and I loved it. And I think that I know people are looking down the road, but we haven't spoken as what was one voice. And I think what you're doing is a movement. It's bringing us all on board, and there'll be other opportunities. I know when you have other meetings, there'll be delegation meetings. It's a big difference when you go to a delegation meeting as a family member and you go up there and you have your little talk with the person you already met with. So everyone's seeing publicly that this is an important issue to them. So the public sees it. And so
I know you got a summit coming up. I know you've
Yep.
got a summit coming up, and we'd love to be able to share this opportunity with folks in some format and talk, offline about how maybe we could accomplish something to integrate all that hard work you're doing in the gathering that you're having to help this be another angle. And I appreciate your kind words and recognition, and I agree. Family voices are the most powerful.
Yep.
and I think it
that's-
bears, sorry, it bears repeating again that this is a family driven effort. We're just moms and dads and aunts and cousins and whatever. No one's ever done this. No group of families have ever come together and said, hey, get to know me. Hey, get to see my kid. And that's something to try. Like, I think, Alan's on here saying yay. And
One thing we're doing is we're sharing a book called 3 Fields with all the legislators. It's about 2 families. One family puts their child in an institution with Down syndrome, and the other one decides to keep their family, and it tells their story. We want them to understand what families are going through. And so that's another thing we're doing. But I'm here for this to support you guys.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. We respect that.
anybody else chime in? Introduce yourself. We got 7 minutes.
I encourage people to give a shot at filling out the form. And if you need help with Stephanie doing it, she'll help. Okay. And let's just, a half a loaf of something is better than a whole loaf of nothing. We can work with it. We'll help you and mentor this situation, because our voices can be loud. They need to be proud. They need to be clear.
So I'll introduce myself. I'm Deborah Watkins. Tom, I know you. You know me. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Wifely Watkins. My daughter's name is Caitlin. And I'll just say this. I have done legislative on the Hill kind of work, actually on at the government level in Washington, D.C. for many years on different issues. However, this approach is phenomenal. What I've learned is you have to connect emotionally And that's what the stories do. You know, the stories, and I love the approach about this is your family. That's genius. I'm your family. You have to make this, you have to understand that these people are extremely busy. They get 50 people, I don't even know how many people on a given day that show up and speak to them or their aides on matters that are important. There's so many issues out there. So you have to make this issue really stand out. It's like being sold a product. You're going to buy the product. If you have it, like if you go to the grocery store, for example, I get so confused anymore in the grocery store because there's so many different brands of a thing, right? And so when you think about what stands out, the companies that win are making emotional connections, or they're doing, their brand marketing is really catching. It's catchy, right? So that's the key, is you want the representative, after they've been briefed from their aide and been to fundraisers and had 15 other people that they spoke to personally, you want them to remember you. You want your issue to be top of mind. So with that being said, I think it's also, I love this. I love it, love it, love it. But I've learned it's also easy to have like a one pager that's consistent, that everybody shares and everybody uses. And if you go, everyone is using the same piece of paper and you can add your story to it. But the key thing, so for example, if it's managed care and managed care doesn't fit, there's a ton, and I'm happy to help with this. I will volunteer my services. I am a registered nurse. I have a master's in nursing. I am a case manager for many, many years. I'm a certified life care planner. I work with people who are injured primarily. But in that work, I do run into people with developmental disabilities, as well as, I'm a parent, I'm a caregiver for, I don't even know how many years now, 30 years, I guess. Anyway, so happy to pull together any information that would be helpful. I'm very well versed in managed care, utilization review, how the healthcare system works, the ins and outs of it. I know it very well. So where I can be helpful in providing support, I'm happy to do it.
And that's what we need, is because, one of the things to remember is we are parents, but we're not just parents.
Yeah.
We are also could be incredibly talented experts with skills that exceed way beyond being a caregiver. And so putting these things together, but I think you've heard from multiple people saying, wow, family stories are the powerful thing, being able to do it. So we'll keep working on the bullet points. At least others will be mostly. I've got a little bit of input, but that's not my primary focus. My focus is what we're doing right here, is getting you to feel empowered, to feel the importance of your story, and to realize that nobody else understands what it's like to be afraid to go to bed because you're afraid if you fall asleep, your child will die. And if you don't tell those stories, they don't know it. And that's the heart. When you start to tell in those kinds of stories, and it's not just anger, but it's genuine, heartfelt, be in my shoes for a minute, feel what I'm talking about. I want to work with you. I just don't want to be angry. And I think there's plenty of people that are getting tired of being angry and that want to do something good. And so we can do this. And I don't feel like I'm just Pollyanna and just blowing sunshine. It's a lot of hard work. We got an uphill thing. We won't change the world in one night. But, there's a story about the grandfather and the little grandson walking along the beach, and there's all these starfish washed up on the shore, thousands of them. And the little boy's running around, and he's throwing the starfish back in the water. And the grandfather looks at him and says, "Why? Why are you doing it? It's so hopeless. Look at all of them on the beach." And the little kid holds up the starfish and said, "Well, it mattered to this one." And he threw it back. And each of our kids matter. And we are not going to end up on the beach. We're going to tell the truth. We're going to not go away. And we're going to show the commitment that we have and ask the state to feel it. I thank you so much for your time and your passion. Melissa, I know you had
I just want to add one. I won't go into the managed care thing. We could do that some other time. I do know that there's somebody in the chat that was asking about it. I can give a quick synopsis, but I did want to say that there is only 30 weeks left to the end of the legislative session. And some of these guys, this is their last year. We can really help them go out with a bang. So we're going to continue to meet every Friday. Next Friday, I think we're going to do it at 2. Then the Friday after, we'll do it at 6. We'll just keep alternating the times like we're doing it. It's going to be the same exact link. We're not changing the link. And please, if you can ask other people to come next week or the following week. And right now, remember, Stephanie said it took her about a month before she got her appointment. Please call. I mean, I know it's like a long weekend, but maybe on Tuesday, if you can call the your senator, your House representative, look up the counties on the list. We'll send the list out again. Just call and schedule the appointment. Then maybe next
week. And if you think about it, before you turn your computer off, fill out the form.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Send it off, and it'll be off your plate. The weekend can begin, and we just get it done.
And Stephanie's got in the chat box, you guys, it's I see it right now, the link.
Yeah, one of them went through correctly. The other one, I'll have Melissa send it in the email, but the form is right there. The click form with the picture ad is in there. And then the alternative one, I'll make sure it goes out in email. So one more time, just call, make the appointment. And then after you call us, email us. We'll help you with what needs to happen afterwards. But we just call, please call. This only works if we all do it.
And next week when we're together, believe me, you're even if you called Tuesday, you're not going to have an appointment by the end of next week.
No.
But if you at least have called and you're like, yep, my appointment's scheduled for September 20, whatever. Then we have that next week. Maybe if you want somebody else to go with you, you guys can partner up, go together, that sort of thing. But if you guys just now, please call, schedule those appointments, and then keep coming back each week. Let us group together. Please tell other people about it, bring more people in. And then, we'll put together some bullet points to go over when you're there. If anybody else wants to add anything else, please go ahead. And Heavy, you had added something the last time.
Heavy's thank you cards. I forgot. Heavy, are you here?
She is, I think. It looks like she is. But she ordered particular cards that, like We the People. She was also talking about ordering like these little tiny shoes to be able to leave for some people that kind of symbolizes to take a walk, take a walk in my shoes type of thing, like to leave something symbolic with those legislators. Great. So,
but how do we make an impact as a group if we're not going to have a consistent voice in what we're asking for the legislators?
What we're asking for right now is for them to know that there are families in their district, and that's the relationship. The specific issue stuff is still being worked on. I hear what you're saying, but what you have to tell more than anything out is about your family, your story, and that remember the whole metaphor about that legislator is in your family and you're in theirs. And that
we will have things to speak on. Last meeting, Ms. Hooper talked about the platform for Florida Developmental Disability Council will come out in September. And so then we will we're ahead of the ball if we do this. We are going to make the connection And then we will have like a unified voice of things that we can bring to legislators. But the first things first, before I ask anyone for something in life, doesn't matter if it's a legislator or anyone, I want them to like me. I want them to know me. I want them to trust me. I want them to buy into who I am. And then I can, ask more.
And you want to educate them. You want to enlighten them. You want to inspire them. You want them to understand that you're not some just crazed mom, but you're exhausted, and that you are, and that you can tell them things they would never learn otherwise. And it is so powerful.
And we'll come up with those key asks, like Mary, what you were wondering, somebody else had said something earlier. We'll come up with some stuff. We'll have that for you guys.
And we'll get folks like, like Melissa, like Margaret, like Alan, to be able to do, issue clarifications and be able to be part of this process. We're just trying to keep right now is to be sure we build the foundation of family faces, family voices, people, bring the human back in human services part of it. All the politics and stuff, it's easy to get lost in that, but we are the voice of family. And that's what everybody else, you heard Alan say it, you've heard Margaret say it, you've heard Melissa say it. We are way more able to get a meeting.
Hello, we are
Get
6 minutes out of.
Particularly from your local legislators. So
You're breaking up, Tom. What he's saying is, we are the voice, we are the power. And that's it. That's what you're asking for. You're asking our legislators to get to know us, get to know what we're doing, take a walk in our shoes. Heavy, welcome.
Yes, I am trying to multitask here. I just sent my email address, please, those that want the materials. I thought that we were going to be 200, and I thought that was way too much to me to handle. But right now we are 30, at least to start. I can handle that directly. Send me an email with your address and I send you the materials. Another thing besides Anne, who is here of Sarasota County? Nobody? And Anne is an expert, just in case someone trying to contact Mr. Grant in Punta Gorda. He will be out for the rest of September. He will be available to take appointments after the 20th of October. So as family, we have compromised our times on. I just wanted to share that so that you don't misuse your time in that effort, but make sure the 20th you are in his office first thing in the morning. Second, Mr. James Buchanan, I have met with him. I think this is the third time I am going to meet with him up to now, and he was part of the person that helped with the 15 million for the housing project of Loveland. Of what I can perceive from him, it is you ask, you document, you prove the need, why, and you will get a yes. Okay, for getting a hold of him, please do not email him. Email his aide which is Thomas, and I forgot the rest. I sent it to Belisa and to Stephanie. That's the way that you are going to get a priority. They have the two phone numbers. Don't lose your time with those two phone numbers, nor with his email. You are going to go right through his aide. With him, I can tell you, if you ask a meeting today, it won't take more than 2 weeks that you get that meeting.
Thanks, Heavy. So the Heavy's got thank you cards and things to leave your legislator. So make sure that if you have an appointment, if you would just go ahead and send Hebby your address. Hebby, can you put your email there? So I know you said you did that. Did you do that? I don't know. The chat thing messes me up. Oh, there it is. So if you scroll up, you can see Hebby's email, and she'll send you the materials. It's already pre-postage stamped. It's really sweet. Sweet thing to do. Yeah, thanks, Hebby.
So listen, it is Labor Day weekend.
Woo!
It's Friday night, and we're sitting here talking on the phone at 7 o'clock on Labor Day weekend night. What are we doing? I think what we're doing is going to say goodnight. See you next week. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Let's keep those storms away from us. Let's take a few minutes to get the balls rolling here. And thank you for everybody.
Thank you,
For
guys. Have
caring
a great
Thanks,
and for
guys.
remembering your voice.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy
Bye.
Labor Day,
everyone.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
Stephanie, don't sign it off yet.
Yes,
Deborah, Hebby's info is in the chat. She put it up a little bit. I'll copy it and